South bring to hip hop, bro?
South in here in this chat making music, right? Let me get my point across, real quick. Music next. Aiden looks like the arrested who killed Charlie Kirk.
Hold up. Things flipped quick when Master P finally put his foot down with Jay Prince, cutting him off cold. He made it clear, enough talk, especially with those fresh NYC rumors buzzing everywhere. And trust me, the streets didn't miss a beat. They felt that shift instantly.
The South bring to hip hop, bro?
South brought money to hip hop.
Puffy and them was rocking, but they wasn't getting no money like Master P was. I ain't been around Def Jam. I was on Death Row. I ain't seen all the niggas that supposedly had the money. Master P had the motherfucking money.
True independent.
So we brought revenue to hip hop. It's a fact. When I came to New York, I seen dudes was way better than us, but they wasn't making money. And I said, man, like I told you, when I get into a business, I find a problem. I thought that was a problem. Y'all had so much talent out here, but you giving the money away because we waiting on them to write us a check.
You created the mold, man.
Yeah, we gonna write our own checks. That's what we brought. And I learned that from Jay Prince. I watched what he did. I watched another black man be able to come with a mink coat on.
Was he the one y'all to watch?
Him, Tony Draper, but Jay was who I watched. I'm like, man, that dude is the GOAT for us. No matter what, I don't care what they say. That dude is the GOAT for us.
Listen to this. This wasn't some random back and forth or online chatter. It came off like real frustration, finally hitting its limit after seeing the same cycle play out way too many times. Master P usually moves silently, stacking his businesses and dodging messy public drama. So when he finally stepped up and spoke like that, everyone immediately knew something major had set him off.
In here in this chat making music, right? You guys look at it as like, oh, how can I get signed with Atlantic? How can I get signed with Interscope? How can I get signed with Columbia? How can I get signed with Sony? How can I get signed with Warner? How can I get signed with Universal? These people will sign you. You have to play the puppet role, right? And this is why I'm so canceled, because they hate when I say this. You go, you sign your life away, right? You make most of your money with your advance, but once you blow that, right, whether you blow it on bitches, cars, lifestyle, clothes, everything, then you like, yo, my label's putting me note, I don't have no money, da-da-da-da.
All right, listen closely. Jay Prince had been sliding into conversations about street matters, industry clashes, and real-life situations for a long minute. He often spoke like he was the final say, and back in the day, that carried real weight. But times have shifted. Now the internet turns every line into a microscope and every public comment into a target. When those NYC details leaked, the way he was speaking started ticking people off. The streets don't play when sensitive situations keep getting dragged into the open. Silence, that's respect. Master P's move didn't scream emotion, it screamed authority. That's why it landed so hard. This wasn't about ego or chasing clout. It was about drawing the line. And in street culture, lines mean more than words ever could. Keep crossing them, and someone's gonna step up. Master P showing up, that was the check.
Let me get my point across, real quick.
Shout out
You
to
know me,
Compton,
I'm Mexican. I'm against the ICE shit because you know I'm Mexican. Right? My mom came in '86. I'm a Trump supporter. Me saying I'm a Trump supporter, I fuck with Charlie Kirk. I feel like his debating skills is crazy. Hold on. Watch where I'm going with this.
The timing was everything. NYC holds serious weight in hip-hop's history, and anything tied to that city carries consequences, not just opinions. When new details started leaking, people expected some restraint, but the chatter just kept rolling. That's when frustration hit. Master P's reaction mirrored what a lot of folks were thinking, but were too afraid to say out loud. This wasn't about disrespect and legacy. Both names have deep history, but history doesn't hand out unlimited passes. The streets respect those who know when to speak and when to step back. Master P made it crystal clear. Some situations don't need narrators, they need silence. Once that clip dropped, social media blew up. Fans weren't just reacting to the words, they were reacting to who delivered them. Hearing someone as calculated as Master P snap told everyone the noise had crossed a line. This wasn't just two heavyweights clashing, it was a shift in the rules. The days of freely speaking on sensitive matters without pushback? Over. The streets are watching, and accountability is the new standard.
Aiden looks like the arrested who killed Charlie Kirk. No, wait, hold on.
What?
Let me finish. But hold on. That had the Bulls, right? That they locked up. Hold on. Let me get to my point.
Yeah, good.
Was the nigga who killed Charlie Kirk a gang member? Was he a blood? But he's standing on shit, right?
Yeah, stand on business.
The Luigi Mangione that killed the CEO killer, was he in a gang? But he's staying on business. You don't have to be in a gang to be tough. There's not in a gang that just stand on shit.
As reactions flooded in, the culture started breaking down why this moment hit harder than a typical disagreement. The key? Credibility. Master P built his empire on ownership, discipline, and staying out of unnecessary chaos. When someone like that drops a hard "enough is enough," people actually listen. It didn't come off as a threat, it came off as a warning. Jay Prince's public style had been steady for years, weighing in on conflicts, playing mediator, and touching topics others avoided. That approach worked in another era. Today, constant commentary can read as overreach, especially when real people and real stakes are involved. The streets don't honor performative authority, they honor restraint. The NYC factor added even more pressure. That city has long memories and deep ties. When details link to its surface, every word carries extra weight. Master P's response showed he understood that. He wasn't trying to dominate the chatter, he was trying to shut it down before it escalated. Fans noticed the difference in energy between the sides. One side kept talking, the other spoke once, clear, firm, and stepped back. That contrast mattered. In street logic, repetition erodes authority, precision builds it. Master P's words hit because they were sharp and direct. This moment also exposed a bigger shift in hip-hop leadership. Authority used to come from fear and reputation. Now it comes from judgment and timing. Speaking at the wrong moment can cost respect faster than staying silent. Social media turned it into a debate about who should speak and when. Some defended Jay Prince's track record, others backed Master P's call for quiet, but even critics admitted the reaction landed. That's when you know a message hit. The streets don't glorify confrontation, they respect correction. Correction keeps things from going sideways, and that's exactly what this felt like. A correction was delivered publicly because private restraint failed. This wasn't about winning, it was about halting a pattern. Patterns only break when someone with weight steps in. As the conversation grew, it became clear this was bigger than two names clashing. It showed how culture is rethinking public commentary on sensitive topics. The internet rewards constant chatter, but the streets punish over-talking. That tension defines modern hip-hop discourse. Master P's stance proved that not every situation needs a spokesperson. When details are raw, speaking publicly can inflame more than it resolves. That lesson comes from experience, not theory, and the streets recognized that wisdom instantly. Jay Prince's longtime role as a public voice once filled a gap, but now that gap doesn't exist. Everyone's got a platform. Everyone's got an opinion. In this space, authority has to be earned over and over. It can't just be assumed. This clash also exposed a generational collision. One era operated through quiet influence, the other moves in viral moments. Master P's move leaned on old-school restraint in a new-school world. That contrast made it hit harder. Fans started linking this moment to other recent times when public commentary blew up instead of solving anything. A pattern showed itself. The streets don't forget patterns, they adjust behavior around them. The reaction wasn't hype or celebration, it was reflection. People weren't cheering drama, they were noticing a line had been drawn. In hip-hop, lines matter. Cross them too often, and respect erodes. Master P didn't chase follow-up interviews, he didn't double down. He said his piece and stepped back. That restraint strengthened the message. Truth doesn't need to be repeated once it lands. This moment turned into a reference point. When sensitive issues surface, folks will remember this exchange, not for the words, but for the principle. Silence can outweigh commentary, and knowing when to stay quiet, that's leadership. When everything finally settled, the culture didn't treat this like a messy feud or a headline-grabbing fight. It treated it like a reset button, hitting it in real time. Nothing blew up after that. No endless arguing, no dramatic escalation, and that alone spoke louder than 1,000 interviews ever could. This wasn't about shaming anyone or chasing clout. It was about drawing a clear line and showing that some boundaries don't need to be crossed repeatedly to be understood. What really stood out was how fast the energy flipped afterward. Conversations that used to be loud suddenly quieted down. Commentary slowed. People who usually jump in with their opinions took a step back. That doesn't happen often in hip-hop, especially in the social media era, where everyone feels pressure to speak immediately. The shift showed the message wasn't just heard, it was respected. Silence followed, and in this culture, silence usually signals reflection, not fear. This moment reminded everyone that respect isn't built by talking the most, it's built by knowing when to stop. In a time where attention feels like currency, choosing restraint is almost rebellious. The streets don't reward endless chatter anymore. They reward judgment. They reward timing. They reward awareness. And this moment highlighted that better than any lecture ever could. For a long time, hip-hop blurred the line between authority and volume. Whoever spoke loudest, longest, or most confidently was assumed to have weight. That era is fading. Now authority is constantly tested. Every word is clipped, every sentence archived. And when the internet decides someone is over-speaking, the damage doesn't come from enemies, it comes from fatigue. People stop listening. That's the real loss of power. This exchange sparked a conversation about responsibility that goes beyond individual names. It wasn't about picking sides. It was about asking who actually benefits when sensitive matters get debated publicly over and over. Who gains clarity? Who gains attention? And who bears the consequences when words move faster than facts? Those questions don't vanish once clips stop trending. They linger. Another takeaway was how influence has changed shape. Influence used to flow quietly through private calls and closed doors. Now it moves through public statements and viral clips. But that doesn't mean everything should be public. Some influence works best when it's invisible, when people grasp the message without repeated emphasis. That's exactly where this moment landed. The streets also recognized the discipline in saying something once and not dragging it out. No victory laps, no follow-up rants, no extended explanations, just a line drawn and space left behind it. That kind of discipline is rare today. Most people feel compelled to keep feeding the algorithm, but algorithms don't respect boundaries. People do, and respect still matters. This moment also reframed what leadership looks like in modern hip-hop. Leadership isn't about being the voice of every situation. It's about knowing when your voice could make things worse instead of better. That level of awareness doesn't come from theory. It comes from experience, mistakes, and watching situations spiral in the past. The culture didn't take this as an attack. It took it as a reminder that not every moment needs a narrator. Not every issue needs commentary, and not every platform needs to be used just because it's there. That reminder hit especially hard in an era where silence is often mistaken for weakness. Here, silence became strength. What also became obvious is that hip-hop is tired of unnecessary escalation. Fans might enjoy drama, but they don't enjoy consequences. They've seen too many situations go sideways after words spun out of control. That history lives in the background of every conversation. Now, when someone signals that things should slow down, the culture listens more than before. This moment will quietly shape how future situations are handled, not publicly, not officially, but culturally. People will think twice before speaking on sensitive matters just to stay relevant. They'll remember that being first isn't always being smart, and they'll remember that restraint can earn more respect than reaction. Nothing about this needed a winner. There was no scoreboard, no knockout, just a recalibration. And recalibrations are often the most important moments in a culture because they happen before damage, not after. The streets didn't celebrate. They acknowledged. They recognized a boundary being reinforced in a space where boundaries often vanish. That acknowledgement is subtle, but it's powerful. It influences behavior without forcing it.